God is always speaking to us, but often we are so distracted or overwhelmed by our daily routine that we cannot perceive His voice. He communicates in various ways, and one of them may be through physical signs that, at first glance, may seem like simple coincidences. But in reality, these physical reactions can be a divine warning. Have you ever felt an inexplicable agitation, a sudden illness, or even woke up in the middle of the night for no apparent reason? These are not just reactions of the body, but they can be signs that God is trying to speak to you. In today's video, we will explore 7 physical reactions that indicate God is revealing Himself to you. These signs may be an invitation to stop, reflect, and listen to God's voice in your life. They should not be ignored, as they can be crucial moments of divine guidance. Pay attention, for these reactions can transform the way you perceive spiritual messages in your life. Throughout this video, you will understand how these signs connect with your spiritual journey and what God may be trying to show you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like to continue receiving content that will help you live more aligned with divine purpose. Let's explore these signs together and discover how God may be speaking to you right now. Have you ever found yourself awake between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., not knowing why, but feeling that something greater was happening? This experience is not just a coincidence. Known as the hours of the 4th vigil, these specific hours have a profound significance in Scripture. Many believe it is a time when God moves, speaks, and reveals His will, and it is a period when our attention is drawn to something special. For many people, waking up at this hour may seem like just a coincidence or a fleeting occurrence. However, if this happens repeatedly, it is a sign to pay attention. When you find yourself awake during this time, it is not just your body reacting to sleep, but an opportunity to connect spiritually. God may be trying to communicate something to you. Perhaps He wants you to pause for a moment and listen to His voice, or even intercede in prayer for someone. On some occasions, this simple interruption in your sleep can be an invitation to be more present, more aware, and more attentive to divine messages. This period between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. can also be a time of preparation. It is when God communicates, free from the distractions of the day, when your mind is calmer and your spirituality more open. If you cannot go back to sleep, instead of getting frustrated, use this time to pray or simply reflect on life. God may be wanting to prepare your spirit for something important. It's as if He is calling you for a moment of connection, to bring light on something in your life, or even to strengthen your faith for what is to come. The key is to recognize these moments as a divine invitation and not just a simple sleep disruption. If you repeatedly wake up at this hour, see it as an opportunity to align with divine purpose and seek a greater connection with Him. Instead of just trying to go back to sleep, ask yourself, God, what are you trying to tell me? What do you need me to do at this moment? This is a unique opportunity to hear God's voice amidst the silence of the night. It is in this quiet space that He often calls us for profound moments of reflection, prayer, or simply spiritual alignment. Do not ignore these signs, for they can be the beginning of direct communication with the divine. Many times what we call anxiety or inner restlessness is not just an emotional or physical reaction, but a subtle way for God to communicate with us. When we are out of alignment with what He has planned for us, or when we are walking down a path that is not right, this feeling of discomfort in our spirit begins to manifest. It's as if something inside us is trying to grab our attention, saying that we need to pause and reconsider our choices or actions. This feeling of restlessness can arise at various moments in life. An important decision, a relationship that is not bringing peace, a situation that is not flowing the way it should. While anxiety is typically viewed as a psychological issue, It is often the way God alerts us that something is not aligned with His plan for us. Instead of ignoring this feeling or trying to chase it away with distractions, it is essential to stop and reflect. Why am I feeling this way? What is out of tune in my life? The absence of peace is one of the most subtle and powerful ways God uses to guide us. When inner peace is lacking, there is a clear sign that something needs to be redirected or corrected. This discomfort is not a punishment, but a warning. God gives us this sign to protect us from wrong choices, or from straying down a path that would lead us to a destination that is not the best for us. When you feel this restlessness in your spirit, do not ignore it. Sometimes we are so used to living at the fast pace of everyday life that we do not stop to listen to what our heart and soul are trying to tell us. God uses these moments of agitation to help us find balance again, to seek new direction, or to correct what is no longer aligned with our purpose. When you notice this anxiety or restlessness, remember that this is the perfect time to connect with God, to say a sincere prayer, and to ask for guidance. Ask Him, "Lord, what are you trying to show me with this feeling of discomfort? What direction should I take?" The answer may not come immediately, but this act of opening up and listening can be the key to restoring your inner peace. This feeling of agitation can also be an invitation to evaluate your priorities, reflect on your choices, and even correct your thoughts and attitudes. Sometimes we become so focused on our own plans that we forget to consult the divine plan for our lives. God, in His infinite wisdom, guides us through signs like this, helping us find the right path, steering us away from mistakes, and drawing us closer to His will. So, the next time you feel an inexplicable agitation or anxiety, take a pause. Don't rush to find a quick solution. Allow yourself to feel, reflect, and connect with God. It may be His way of calling you to greater intimacy, guiding you to a place of peace and harmony that you will only find by following His guidance. Have you ever had the feeling that a word, a phrase, or even a specific verse seems to follow you everywhere? Perhaps you heard this same message in the Sunday sermon, then saw it again in a random conversation with a friend, and finally came across it on social media. What may initially seem like a simple coincidence is, in fact, a clear sign that God is trying to communicate with you. The repetition of a message, especially when it appears in different contexts, is not something common. It is a divine confirmation. Often, life is filled with noise and distractions, which can hinder our ability to hear God's voice. He then uses subtle methods to get our attention. The repetition of a specific word or theme is a powerful way for God to reinforce His message. Whether through verses, inspiring phrases, or even stories shared by people around you, these signs appear multiple times to ensure that you do not ignore them. They are a way for God to affirm, "I am speaking to you. Pay attention." These signs may occur at key moments when you need guidance the most, or when you are uncertain about an important decision. If you notice something is continually repeating itself, it is important to pause and reflect on it. Ask yourself, what does this message mean to me? What is God trying to teach me with this? When the same words or themes keep surfacing, understand that this is not just a coincidence. God wants to guide, correct, or even confirm something that you are already feeling in your heart. The repetition of messages is an effective way to remind us of principles or teachings that we may have ignored or forgotten. God, in His wisdom, understands that we, as human beings, sometimes need more than one indication to truly perceive something important. He repeats the message to ensure that you understand it and align with His will. When the same word or concept arises in multiple places, be attentive. This is the divine way of making you pay attention and reflect on what He wants to reveal to you. Sometimes these messages can be exactly what you need to hear at that moment, serving as a form of comfort, encouragement, or even a warning. For example, you may have read a verse that talks about trusting God, and then that same idea shows up again in a conversation with a friend or in a book you are reading. When this happens, take it as a clear sign that God is reinforcing this message, asking you to apply it in your life. And if you have been encountering the repetition of a word, theme, or verse, know that it is not by chance. It is a divine calling. God is speaking directly to you, trying to draw your attention to something important. Do not ignore these signs, for they may be the key to the direction you are seeking in your life. Pay attention, reflect on what these messages mean, and allow them to guide your steps. God is revealing Himself in a clear and direct way, and it is time to listen. Many times when we encounter pain or illness, the first reaction is to see it as something negative or a sign of failure in our body. However, for the chosen, it is important to understand that not all illness or pain is a punishment. In many cases, God uses these moments of physical weakness to get our attention, not as punishment, but as an invitation to reflect, slow down, and draw closer to Him. Physical ailments, no matter how painful they may be, can serve as a means of divine communication, reminding us that we need to refocus our attention on what is truly important. In the Gospel of John 5:14, Jesus addresses a man who had been healed, saying to him, "See, you are well again. Stop sinning or something worse may happen to you." These words teach us that often physical difficulties can be used by God as a way to teach us something. Illness can be an opportunity for us to reflect on our choices, attitudes, and the way we are living. Sometimes we stray from the divine path or allow ourselves to become too caught up in the worries of the world. And it is at that moment that God can use illness as a sign to reconnect us with Him and with our true mission. In times of illness or suffering, it is natural to feel frustration, fear, and even despair. But it is crucial to ask, "Lord, what are you trying to teach or show me through this?" This questioning helps us seek the purpose behind what we are experiencing. Instead of merely focusing on physical discomfort, we can open ourselves to the possibility that God is trying to guide us to a new understanding, to a lesson, or even to a new way of life. Sometimes illness invites us to slow down, to pay attention to our bodies and our spiritual health. God may be asking us to stop and reflect on our lives, on what we are prioritizing, and more importantly, on how much we are taking care of our connection with Him. When we are ill, vulnerability leads us to a place of greater dependence on God. He uses these moments to remind us of our fragility and the importance of being fully aligned with His will. In many cases, physical healing is linked to a deeper spiritual healing. As we draw closer to God during these difficult times, He guides us to complete healing, not just of the body, but also of the soul. So as you go through an illness or pain, instead of just wishing for the situation to end, take a moment to ask God what He wants to teach. Ask yourself if there is something you need to change in your life, something you need to learn, or if there are areas where you need to surrender more fully to His will. These moments of weakness can be a divine invitation for profound transformation if we are willing to listen and learn. When you begin to see physical pain from this perspective, you may realize that it is not just an evil to be avoided, but a tool that God uses to draw us closer to Him, to teach us, and to shape us into His image. God loves us so much that even amid adversity, He is guiding us toward the greater purpose He has for our lives. Sometimes God does not speak directly with words, but communicates through the opportunities that arise in our lives. Often, in the midst of our routine and concerns, God places before us doors that seemingly appear out of nowhere. These unexpected opportunities may seem like coincidences, but when observed closely, they can be clear signs that He is guiding us toward a new path. Whether it is a new job opportunity, a change in direction, or a divine connection, these open doors are often God's way of leading us to the next step in our journey. In the book of Revelation 3:8, God says, "Behold, I have set before you an open door, which no one can shut." This means that when God decides to open a door in our lives, no one can stop it from opening. It may be an opportunity to change careers, move to a new city, or even a new friendship that comes out of nowhere. When these doors open in a supernatural way, it is important that we remain attentive, for God may be guiding our steps in a unique and perfect manner, even if we do not fully understand why at that moment. In many cases, the opportunities that arise are answers to our prayers, a way for God to show us that He is working in our favor. The key is not to ignore these open doors, even if they seem unlikely or challenging. They may be exactly what we need to grow, learn, and move forward in our life's purpose. If you encounter an unexpected opportunity, stop, pray, and ask God if this is the direction He wants you to take. These opportunities could be the divine way to change your life for the better. There are moments in life when God reveals Himself in supernatural and inexplicable ways, leaving a deep mark on the heart of those who experience it. These encounters cannot be explained by human reason, but they are clear signs that something divine is happening. Whether through a vision, an inexplicable event, or an intense feeling of His presence, these moments have the power to transform a person. When God manifests in this way, He reminds us that we are not alone and that He is actively involved in our lives. Some chosen ones may experience a bright light or a vision that, even without logical explanation, brings a profound sense of peace or revelation. These moments are not mere coincidences or imaginations. They are manifestations of God in our lives. At times, it may feel as though heaven itself has opened before us, bringing an indescribable sense of serenity or power. It's as if, for a brief moment, everything aligns, and God is revealing Himself clearly and directly. Moreover, it is not just about visual experiences. Sometimes God reveals Himself through tangible sensations, such as a deep peace that invades our being in moments of confusion, or an inexplicable inner strength in challenging situations. These encounters can happen anywhere, in prayer, in a moment of silence, or even during an everyday event. When you feel this presence tangibly, it is as if your entire being knows that something divine is happening, something that cannot be explained, only felt. These moments are impossible to ignore. They mark a turning point in anyone's life. The feeling that God is speaking to you in such a personal and direct way is indescribable and can change your perspective on life. No matter what the circumstances around you are saying, these moments of encounter with the divine bring a type of certainty that cannot be undone by any doubt or obstacle. They are clear signs that God is active in your life, guiding your steps, showing His love, and connecting you with His divine purpose. These encounters or divine manifestations may be accompanied by a sense of spiritual renewal, as if a curtain has been drawn back and you can see life in a completely new way. When these experiences happen, they serve as reminders that the divine is not distant, but very close to us, ready to reveal Himself in ways that challenge our understanding. If you have an encounter or an inexplicable experience, know that it is a sign that God is revealing Himself to you in a profound way. Do not ignore these moments. They are spiritual gifts that have the power to transform you, guide you, and align you with the greater purpose He has for your life. God is a divine communicator, and often He chooses to use the people around us to convey His messages. Sometimes a friend, a mentor, a coworker, or even a complete stranger can say something that resonates deeply in our spirit, as if those words were exactly what we needed to hear at that moment. This kind of confirmation, no matter how simple it may seem, is one of the most powerful and subtle ways in which God guides us. We are all connected in some way, and it is possible that God uses those around us to send us signs, answers, or even guidance. Often, we feel lost, doubtful, or heavy-hearted, and it is at this moment that a word from someone can bring an immense sense of relief or clarity. The most interesting thing is that these words, which seem to be common, can touch our very soul, confirming something we already felt, or giving us a new perspective on something we do not yet understand. In moments of uncertainty, when our mind is filled with questions and our faith feels weak, God can manifest through someone who unexpectedly says exactly what you need to hear. It could be a simple phrase that someone casually shares, an encouraging word in a conversation, or even a message that you receive at just the right time. This type of guidance can be transformative, and is often the divine way of aligning us with the purpose we have in our journey. It is important to be attentive to these signs, as God can speak through anyone. When something that someone says resonates deeply in your heart, you can trust that many times it is God communicating with you. This is a way for Him to use the circumstances and the people around us to direct us towards the path He has prepared for us. Sometimes our own worries or distractions can prevent us from clearly hearing the voice of God. But He finds ways to reach our heart, often through the words of others. God also uses these situations to teach us to listen more attentively, to recognize His presence in our daily lives, and to trust the signs He sends us. When someone says something that truly touches your soul, pause and think about it. Ask God if this message is exactly what He wants you to hear. He may be using this person to help you better understand His will, or to confirm a decision you were considering making. Moreover, these manifestations do not only happen when we are in moments of crisis or doubt. God can also use the words of the people around us to remind us of His love, to encourage us to move forward, or to guide us about something simple yet significant in our lives. God is always guiding us, and He uses people as instruments to reach our hearts, even if they are not aware of the impact their words are having. God is constantly revealing Himself to us, but we need to be attentive and sensitive to the physical and spiritual signs He gives us. Whether through moments of solitude, the repetition of messages, or divine opportunities, He always guides us in ways we can perceive if we are attentive. Do not ignore the signs that appear in your life, for they may be the key to your next step toward His will. By recognizing these signs and opening yourself to the divine voice, you will find direction, peace, and transformation. Comment below. Have you ever had an experience where someone's words deeply touched your heart and seemed exactly what you needed to hear? How did you recognize that it was a message from God? Share your experiences in the comments and let's talk about it.